of the Constitution or outlaw. You may assume it is the matter that may be before the court, when actually it's the person that's before the court, the status of the person. Therefore, law does not apply to the person. And since the judge is an officer of the court, and a member of the barrister, that's where Bar Association comes from, barristers, England, Barristers Association of England, with branches here in the Americas to take care of their investments. And then the prosecutor is an officer of the court, member of the Barristers Association of England, with a branch here in North America. And the PD, as well as the attorney or the lawyer that they put on you that you pay, is a spy and a member of the Barristers Association of England with branches here in North America, and an officer of the court. Now, does it take a child to recognize that that's a conflict of interest? But yet we roll through that every day, and they build up so much financial energy that they can't even count it. They literally run small municipalities merely on profile stops of Asiatics and of African birth who think they're black, and Asiatics of African birth who think they're Puerto Ricans and Latinos. And so the slavery is maintained through paperwork, and so since you don't see a face now, they can smile at you. And you actually start thinking that you've done something wrong, and actually they're regulating you just like any commercial product. So they don't have to get angry at you, do you? They don't have to, not speak to you in the morning. You can say, top of the morning to you. Why? Because you and another sister, like, say you work at City Hall, right? Another sister, European, work at City Hall. Right next to you, got the same job, right? She can live in Cherry Hill. Her husband got a Mercedes, and she got a little one that she comes to work with, sometimes with the station wagon or the Dodge minivan. And little Freddie got a bike. And Susie goes to college, and she got a little Elantra. And their whole insurance bill costs about what your car costs for you to keep going to work. And you're wondering how they make it. It's done bureaucratically. They have a mortgage of, say, $1,200, $1,300 a month mortgage, and you're trying to make the $500 to $700 mortgage, struggling. And you got the same job, and you can't figure out how it takes place. And you can't afford to send your children to college, and you can't figure out how it takes place. Remember, you got the same job. Now you understand why they have secret societies, Rotarian, Lions clubs, and all this, etc. And in their communities where they have certain tax rates to go to you, certain tax rate to go to you, can be right across the street, you have a different tax rate. And you'll be surprised if you ever got an opportunity to see it. But they'll also get certain rebates back that you never see, that you don't even know exist. Do you understand? But for the public, that allows them to fool you, for you to think that this thing is equal and you're suffering the same thing. So certain things they'll go through, that they'll do to their own to fool you. But your concept would be that these people are operating constitutional because they have titles of government. They're, mayors, deputy mayors, sheriffs, etc. The only true law that's riding around here to execute law is the sheriff. And the policemen are actually private security guards. They're not officers. And many of them don't know that. And so they're trained to actually abuse their own people. They're used as instruments so that if somebody pops up that really knows something about law and sues them, the cities will usually try to put it on that officer. Yeah, that's why they use them as buffers. They use them, which is really unjust. Because they should understand, because the deal from Title 18, even though most color of law will be listed under Title 42, which is really a fraud 14th Amendment, but on Title 18, whether someone operating in what you would call an official capacity abuses or violates the people's rights, they're held under color of law, regardless of whether they know it or not. And anyone that comes to any of the people that claims any authority, that claims to extract an emolument from you, or to take your time, or to hinder your movement, or to command any specific performance from you without a Fourth Amendment warrant signed by a federal judge, are violating you right then. So even when they stop you on the street, they've already violated the law. But they already know they're not operating under law. They're operating on a limited jurisdiction of a corporate capacity as private security guards for extracting revenues as highwaymen from people who are not protected by constitutions. That's really what's happening. And so once you understand that, you must, and I trust that you will be inspired to correct your status in order to start fixing this thing, because outside of your rightful person, if you're not in your proper person, believe me, the law doesn't protect you. But what they do is afford you privileges under corporate capacity. That means so anyone who's been transacting business in alien names may be afforded certain privileges conditionally. That includes whether they can vote even. You know, and so once you understand how these things take place, you can start countering them. And you can't counter them with anger. You can't counter them with emotion. You must counter them with knowledge. Starting with, and note, so those who have pens, make note. In any court in a jurisdiction, the principle is the same. Proper procedure is the same. All across the world. And I'll show you how they're violating you. So if I have a complaint, against you, relative in any court matter, no matter what it is, the first issue to come before the court, and for that court to be proper, would be the status of the being. And that's all the beings that claim interest in this matter. So the status of the person, the natural person, would be established for the record. If it's not established for the record, then I'm proceeding incorrectly, if I'm adjudicating. And you know they do that, so you already know they're violating you. So I want you to start looking at these things so that when they start screwing your family members and screwing your people, don't start talking racism. Start costing them. Because they're robbers. And just because somebody has a government office and a white collar, don't assume that they're omnipotent. And don't think that they're godly. Some of the biggest criminals on this planet got white collars that turn around backwards, calling themselves preachers, and the other ones calling themselves politicians. And it's the truth. Don't get angry at them. They're just ordinary people just like me and you. But make no mistake and start thinking that because they be talking law, saying law, that they're moral, because they are not. The biggest thieves are there. Most of them are useless cumberers of society that are absolute leeches. They produce nothing, that's why they get those types of jobs to suck off of you. And if you're not diligent to protect and secure your republic, they have a lot of avenues because they have possession of your sovereignty. Even though it's limited, they have collective sovereignty, which gives them God power. So they have the power of life and death. Because some of the sovereignty is what gives governments power to execute their authority. And it's not theirs, it's actually your authority. So you better be diligent about what they do, and particularly to you. And so I don't have to tell you about what they've been traditionally doing to these Asiatics called Negroes, Blacks, and Colored. I don't have to tell you. We don't even have to list it. And there's no need for anybody to say it ain't happening, because you know it is. And you know it has been. We're here to start putting some brakes on it and start being more useful and more productive citizens in our communities. But you cannot be empowered with emotionalism or just coming together and having a rally. You can be empowered if you have knowledge, though. You can be empowered if you know what's up. If you know how things run, you can fix things. If you deal with emotions, you fix nothing. You just get ulcers and headaches, and then make the pharmaceutical companies richer. Am I right or wrong? Which perpetrates the problem. All right? So you want to look at status, and write this down. There's 3 principles. Status, jurisdiction and venue/venue, and adjudication. What you find is very often they'll take Asiatics in the courtroom, they begin to adjudicate, immediately start talking about what you owe them and how many fines they're going to put upon you. Now, let's look at the Constitution. And remember, all of you have your Constitution, right? Everybody got a Constitution? Now, this is a standard that you're going to start instituting, and you're going to teach it to your family members, especially to the little ones, because they don't know, and you got to teach them while they're young. All right? You never go to a courtroom without a constitution of the Federal Republic, and you never go to the courtroom without a constitution of the particular corporate state. Are we clear?